What's the crack? It's your boy Teriak. What's good? What's good? Hope he's all well. Hope he's been behaving. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's Theology Thursdays as usual. Like I said, kind of went with a bit of a spicy one this week in terms of saying Satan was right. And what do I mean by that? What I'm saying is when you weigh up the characters independently, like objectively, and you look at the character of God and you look at the character of Satan, Satan really didn't do much wrong. You know what I'm saying? God's the one that's saying go out and wipe these off the face of the planet, all this kind of stuff. And you can say that those are bad people, but realistically, I don't think you can kind of justify constantly just like wiping people out, even like the whole flood itself. You know what I mean? But my main argument comes down to the Book of Job, because when you look at the Book of Job, even from I guess like covers the Abrahamic faiths at least, but even just in terms of like the Judaism itself, at the start of the book, you have like in the Garden of Eden, basically being told that God does not want you to know good and evil. And then halfway through the Torah, you basically get the Book of Job, where it's basically a test to see whether or not you're able to judge whether or not God is actually good. The I think the Euthyphro dilemma essentially is what it breaks down to. It's like, is God good because he's good, or is God sorry, is God holy because he's good, or is God holy because he's holy, or is God good because he's holy? And like I said, folks, we're going to be going through the Book of Job just so everyone's clear. But the panel link should be pinned. It's open for anyone who wants to join. If you have any thoughts, if I've already stirred up any emotions or anything like that, let me know. Like I said, open panel. So feel free. But like I said, we're just gonna read basically prologue and then the epilogue, because basically the whole middle of the book, there's a lot of kind of like back and forth where they're just kind of basically simulating a debate. And fundamentally you can kind of sum it up in terms of like they're just kind of saying, no, Job, if you truly were a righteous man, you wouldn't have like suffered all this kind of stuff. So you pretty much simplify down the arguments. But prologue. In the land there lived a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. Hey, my man, look at this. Not only has he got like a huge family, he's got a wife, 10 kids. He's got 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 ox. Boy, he's got a lot. He's got a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? His sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Ain't that sweet? Ain't that sweet? When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. Early in the morning, he would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them, thinking, perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's regular custom, right? So, like, not only is Job like righteous, upright, like 100%, like all above board, goody two shoes, all this kind of thing, but he's also looking out for his kids and all this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, absolute gent, as they say, One day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan, Satan, also came with them. The Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? Satan answered the Lord, from roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it. Just chilling, chilling like a villain, as they say. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. So like God's basically, he's proud of his boy Job. He's showing a bit of pride. He's bragging a bit, Did you see my boy Job? Then Satan says, does Job fear God for nothing? Satan replied, have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? You have blessed the work of his hands so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But now, stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. Oh shit, boys. We got some comments already. What's the crack, Dylan? Welcome in. And we got Cat, the legendary, beautiful Cat GPT in the house. Appreciate you. Like I said, boys, we got ourselves a controversial or spicy one tonight, so you might need to buckle up for this one. But like I said, we're just going through Job, and I'm just going to ask a couple of questions, okay? And if we're all being honest with each other, I think we can come to the same conclusion, hopefully. You know what I mean? But yeah, like this is basically the prologue. So this is like just setting up the whole thing. So far, basically, we've kind of explained who Job is: upright, righteous, upright. Good guy. Then we have God bragging about Job to Satan, and Satan saying, "Well, does he not fear because he has stuff? If he didn't have stuff, wouldn't he turn his back on you? Wouldn't he curse you to your face?" You know what I mean? The Lord said to Satan, "Very well then, everything he has is in your power. But on the man himself, do not lay a finger." Then Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. So basically, this is our, like, God saying, "Yeah, go out and just like take everything from him, just wipe out his family, wipe out everything, but don't lay a finger on the man himself." All right, which, okay. If we're going to go down that route, let's go down that route. One day when Job's sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house, a messenger came to Job and said, "The oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby, and the Sabaeans attacked and made off with them. They put the servants to the sword, and I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, "The fire of God fell from the heavens and burnt up the sheep and the servants, and I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." Right? Now notice here as well, the fire of God, not the fire of Satan. Like already here, it's because like if you're going to say that no, this is supposed to be the fire of Satan, then already you have this dynamic where the it's like okay, when God's been mentioned, it should be Satan, which is, like I said, a clue or kind of dynamic that you might be able to see where I'm going with this. And then while he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, "The Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties and swept down on your camels and made off with them. Even the fucking camels are gone, boys. They put the servants to the sword, and I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." One thing I would like to note as well, like, the servants get a really terrible job. Because, like, bro, I'm just a slave for this cunt. Why am I getting the sword? Do you know what I mean? Is it not a fair comment? And while he was still speaking, yet another messenger came and said, "Your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck 4 corners of the house. It collapsed on them and they're all dead. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." At this point, Job got up and tore his robe and shaved his head. Went full Sinead O'Connor, boys. He's like, "Nah, fuck this. Shave Britney Spears. Just shave it all off." And said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. May the name of the Lord be praised." In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. Right off the bat, we got like a lot of shit goes down. So basically, Satan and God have this little test, and basically Job gets everything gets taken away from Job: his kids, wife, his livestock, all this shit. You know what I mean? Even the servants are dead. You know what I mean? All wiped out. But our boy Job says, "May the name of the Lord be praised. He would not turn his back." Then we get into the second one. On another day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them, present himself before him. And the Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered the Lord, "From roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it. We're just chilling, boy." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil, and he still maintains his integrity." He's got that integrity weed, boy. "Though you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason." So again, a key sentence here I want to highlight. You incited me against him to ruin him without any reason. This is lies. The reason was Job only fears the God or fears the Lord because he's got given stuff. That's what the whole reason was. And then it's like, you incited me against him to ruin him. So Satan can control God? There's a lot of like questions coming from this. You know what I'm saying? We got Justin in the house goes, what was Satan right about? Book of Job. I genuinely think Satan is right in the Book of Job. At least, boys. You know what I mean? Because this is God. Like, God saying to Satan that you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason. So even God saying that, like, I'm ruining Job. I just ruined Job for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, if a king is to ruin a peasant's life for no reason, that's a tyrant. That ain't a benevolent king. Satan says, skin for skin, Satan replies. A man will give all he has for his own life. Now stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. Now we basically up the ante. We're like, okay, maybe our boy Job's not a materialist. But when it comes to your life, you'll fight for that. And the Lord said to Satan, very well then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. Now, bear in mind, God's going along with this saying, you incited me to ruin him without any reason. So like let's just like think about this. If you're to take the position that yes, Satan tricked God, and this is what God's saying, it's like you tricked me into harming Job, and I don't want to do that. He's doing it again. He's in your hands, but you spare his life. So like this whole thing of like accountability. Where is the blame? Where do we put the blame, folks? You know what I mean? Satan went down from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. Then Job took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself with it as he sat among the ashes. His wife said to him, the wife's still alive at this stage, are you still maintaining your integrity? He's got that integrity weed, boy. Curse God and die. He replied, you were talking like a foolish woman. Hey, based. Hey, not gonna lie. This is basically what Job was
I was
like.
wondering what kind of wines do you have?
We have two types. We have white wine, we have red wine.
Like I'd like a red, but like maybe like a Montepulciano or Rioja, or maybe like a nice Spanish. What's that?
Job was like, get away from me, foolish woman. Don't be putting those thoughts in my head. We're gonna stay strong for our boy. You know what I'm saying? Justin asking, are Job's wife, family, and servants in heaven? That is the question. I mean, because it's saying that the wife's still alive, so the wife survived, apparently, at least in this version. The wife said that when he goes, oh shit, boys. You were talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God, but not trouble? You know what I'm saying? So like, I think the livestock and all that, like that's why I don't get, like, even the servants are getting put to the sword. It's like, god damn, even the servants, man, fuck that. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I would assume the family and servants are in heaven. Like, I don't know about the livestock or whatever way. Even the livestock got it as well, man. That was brutality. You know, in all this, Job did not sin in what he said. Still has not cursed him. When Job's three friends, Eliphaz, the Temanite, Bildad, the Shunite, and Zophar, the Naamathite, heard all about the troubles that came upon him, they set from their homes and met together by agreement to go sympathize with him and comfort him. When they saw him from the distance, they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep aloud, and they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. Then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights, and no one said a word to him because they saw how great his suffering was.